Hey everybody, this is Pastor Vern coming to you with the update of the day. It's April 14th, Tuesday, the year 2020, and we are deep into online ministry as we have had to make this conversion over to doing the ministry in a more virtual a manner. And we are going to continue to do that. I've been looking at some things for the next few weeks coming up, whether we're not knowing when we're going to be able to get together in person again. We're going to be looking at those items that were crucial between the time of the resurrection and the ascension. About 40 days that Jesus spent with his disciples, appearing to them often. And we're going to be talking about that throughout this time period, some of the lessons and some of the great revelations that came out of that time period. And for our dailies, we're going to look at something a little bit different. We've been talking about acts of mercy, and now we're going to move into the fruits of the Spirit. The fruits of the Spirit is an important part of who we are as Christians because it's what I guess emanates from us because we've allowed the Spirit to come into our hearts. And when we talk about the fruits, we talk about those things that the good thing that comes from a plant, and we talk about the good things that come from our relationship with God. And the first one we're going to talk about is not highly valued in our society today, and it's called gentleness. Gentleness is not so highly valued. It seems like those who are more aggressive are the ones that are that are heralded. But gentleness is an important part of who we are as the body of Christ. The gentleness has to do with approaching people in love. And of course, that's the basis of what our relationship with people should be. And that's the basis of our God. And so we need to continue with those things, firstly in our hearts, about how we approach people in gentleness. We approach them when we approach them in love, we do this because we want to help somebody consider their history, their strengths, their weaknesses, their burdens, whatever it may be that they are working with. That we want to be a part of the process that in a very positive way. And this is guided by several different things. And one of those things that is guided by is self-control. You know, we are in an aggressive society, and oftentimes we just want to take over. We just want to say, okay, here's your problem, buck up, Bucky, and just, get over it. And that's not the approach that we should have as Christians. We should come with our self-control, knowing that we can turn a flood of emotions on with somebody with our words. And if we do that, we have to have the self-control to react in a way that is comforting and uplifting, and not in a way that would cause more pain. And one of the things that our self-control can do is kind of ramp up the energy and passion that others have, because they see that we can handle things that are difficult. We can handle things that we don't, that we may necessarily not want to have to face in a way that is done with our self-control. And we all have trouble with that sometimes. I have that. I do get angry from time to time. In fact, in the time I've been in the ministry, and I've tried to subdue that the best I can, I've seen a couple surprised faces over the years as I have vented my frustrations and maybe my anger from time to time. And I guess maybe from a person who tries to practice gentleness, when those things come out, it's kind of a shock, and I have to go back and say, you know what, my heart was not in the right place that day. I need to apologize. We need to look at this differently. See, that's coming from a place of gentleness, but that's also coming from a place of strength. And we need to apply enough strength that the gentleness isn't used to be abusive. The strength is we come to the point where we know the other person can handle it. In a lot of scenarios that go on in this world, if we're coming into gentleness, a place of strength, to come alongside somebody, we have to be careful that if we overwhelm them, that if we come on too strongly, we can put up a wall. We can make a negative barrier between us and the person who we would like to have the opportunity to be a part of their lives in a positive manner. It's a little bit like, they tell me it's a little bit like playing golf. Your strength is that, and I've played a little bit, but not a lot. If a little too much, and you're in the bunker a little too little, and your ball stops short of the goal of getting into the cup. And so, and that can be a thing with us, is that we can overwhelm or we can underwhelm, and our gentleness is an important part, or our strength is an important part of that when we come into a relationship with somebody who we would like to walk beside and be helpful to. That's kind of the appropriate gentleness is a hard thing to balance, but we have to let our hearts, our spirit, God lead us in those things where we can be strong enough to be of help, but yet gentle enough to be heard and to be an enhancement to other people's lives. We're going to be looking at some more fruits of the Spirit as we go along this week. I miss everybody. I know there's some difficult things going on, and a lot of difficult choices to make. I've had to make some difficult choices in the last few days, and I know how heart-wrenching that is. So I just ask that you take care of yourselves, that you take things to prayer, with prayer to God, that you are people who are using your acts of mercy and your fruits of the Spirit in a way to enhance not only your people around you, but to bolster your own life until we get back together again and able to be more interactive and to share with some of the graces that we've received. I guess we'll talk to you tomorrow. Remember that we will be having worship on Sunday. My habit is to try to load that on Saturday sometime, so you have it for Sunday morning. It's a little bit of a process, and so I'm looking forward to that. We're hoping that we can use maybe a little bit more Mary and Molly's music this week, and to enhance that worship. And we'll be coming from the location of one of the churches, which is, I think, is probably kind of a nice thing that we see are the backgrounds of our worship from on occasion. We thank everybody for tuning in to the Sunday morning worship sunrise service on the hill. Had great response, and I hope that was uplifting, and I hope that that is something that you can carry in your heart through these troubled times. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Blessings. Take care.